Hello and welcome to the second video in the Freedom from Back Pain series. In this video we're going to be looking at the importance of the core muscles and start working with exercises to strengthen them. The function of the core muscles is to support and protect the spine and the organs in the lower abdomen. You can see from the skeleton illustration above that the rib cage protects the heart, the lungs, the liver, etc. It provides support and structure to the upper body, but there is a big gap between the bottom of the ribs and the top of the hip bones. And this is the area that is most vulnerable to injury, back problems and backache. Now the core muscles help keep your body in the proper alignment so that you sit and stand tall, and this helps to minimise the pressure on the spine, the vertebra and the discs. You may wonder why our rib cage doesn't extend all the way down the body, and the simple answer is that if it did, we wouldn't be able to bend forward and our range of movement would be very restricted. The core muscles aren't just the muscles in your tummy. Most of us are familiar with the abdominal muscles and the six-pack when they are well toned. We also need to work on the muscles of the back, such as the latissimus dorsi and the trapezius, which, as you can see from the diagram, are both big muscles which encompass a lot of the upper and the lower back. And you also see how the transverse muscles wrap around the body from front to back. Together the muscles act like a corset, holding and supporting the lower part of the torso. To begin to get familiar with your core muscles, you can try this simple exercise. Imagine that you have a pair of jeans which have shrunk slightly in the wash and you're needing to breathe in a bit to get them on. You just get them around your bottom, you're sucking in the lowest part of your tummy to try and pull them up a bit higher. And then you're pulling in the area just below your belly button and finally pulling in your belly button. When you've done that, you've engaged your core muscles. And each time you work with these exercises, you need to engage these muscles at around 30% effort, no more. When you do these exercises, I'll be describing moving with your breath, and it's usually breathing out on exertion and then breathing in as you relax. Don't worry too much about this at first. It's more important to learn how to engage your core muscles as you exercise. So that's what we're going to focus on first. I recommend exercising on the floor, and it's worth investing in a soft exercise mat which can be purchased from most sports goods stores. So we're going to start with the pelvic tilt, which is aimed at helping you to find the neutral position of your back, referred to as neutral spine, to gently stretch your lower back, increase mobility and strengthen your abdominal muscles. So lie on your mat with your head supported by a pillow if you wish. Place your hands on your tummy with your fingertips on your pubic bone pointing down towards your feet, and your hands are going to be your spirit level. Now gently arch your back as shown in the first diagram, exaggerating the hollow in the small of your back by relaxing your abdominal muscles and tilting your pelvis backwards. Now this should feel like you're pushing your tailbone down into the floor, and you should feel the heels of your hands have been pushed up by your tummy and are higher than your fingertips. Now contract your abdominal muscles and tilt the bottom of your pelvis forward so that your lower back is in contact with your mat. And it will feel like you're lifting your tailbone off the floor and pushing the small of your back into the floor. And your fingertips should now be higher than the heels of your hands. And finally, bring your back into neutral, where your hands should be evenly balanced and level. Breathe out and engage your core muscles, and hold your core engaged whilst you repeat this rocking movement 4 more times. Move really slowly throughout the sequence. Listen to your body so that you get familiar with this pelvic tilt. Our next exercise is leg slides, and here we want to exercise and strengthen the lower abdominal muscles. So lay on your back with your knees bent and your back in the neutral position. And you can put your hands on your tummy to check that you're in neutral. Remember using them as your spirit level. And you can either leave them on your tummy or let them lie at your side as you do the exercise. Now engage your core muscles. Remember what we talked about in just gently pulling in your tummy to around 30% effort, and keep these engaged as you move your legs. And your hips should remain stable and still. Now breathe out and slide one leg away from you along the floor. So move really slowly with control and stretch your foot as far away from your hip as you can. Breathe in and then breathe out and slide your leg back to the bent knee position. Breathe in and check that your core muscles are still engaged. Breathe out and slide the other leg away from you. Breathe in, breathe out and bring the leg back. And now repeat this 5 times with each leg. And as you become more confident with this exercise, you can work towards using your hands, so you keep them at your sides, and then as you lengthen one leg, you can lengthen the opposite arm. Do remember to keep your core muscles engaged and your spine in neutral position. So from the leg slides, we're going to move on to the knee raise, and again we're aiming at strengthening your core muscles. Now, as with most Pilates exercise, it is deceptively simple and it may look easy, but if it's done correctly, it's very efficient for strengthening those important core muscles. So begin by lying on your back with your knees bent and check that your back is in the neutral position. Breathe out and engage your core muscles and keep them engaged as you move your legs. Your hips should remain stable and still. Now breathe out and slowly raise your left leg until your thigh is at 90 degrees to your torso and your lower leg is horizontal, as you can see in the diagram. You should feel the work coming from your thigh and your lower abdominal muscles. Now take care not to press your low back into the floor or to let your tummy dome. You may wish to put your fingertips onto your hip bones to check that your pelvis stays still and stable. Breathe in and lower your leg to the starting position. Breathe out and raise your right leg. Breathe in and lower. Now do take care that the foot which remains on the floor isn't pressing down too hard. Just imagine that it's lightly resting on a fluffy meringue which you don't want to break. Also keep your bent knee stable and don't let it flop out to the side. So repeat this up to 10 times with each leg, alternating the leg which you raise. So finally in this video we're going to think about doing pelvic floor work anytime, anywhere. So keeping the pelvic floor muscles in good tone is really important for both women and men. And women tend to have more challenges to the integrity of their pelvic floor muscles due to pregnancy and childbirth. And the pelvic floor muscles are the ones you engage when you need a wee, but you can't get to a toilet and you need to hold on. You can work your pelvic floor and your core muscles almost anywhere. And one of the best times is when you're sitting at a desk. Now make sure you're sitting tall, you're not slumped, and if you're using your monitor, it's at eye level. Now take a moment to take your attention down to your pelvic floor and imagine that you want to lift it off your seat. So feel your muscles engaging, squeezing in and pulling up. And you may notice already your lower abdominal muscles starting to contract. And this is because they are connected to your pelvic floor. Now think about pulling in your muscles in your lower abdomen from your pubic bone to your belly button. Breathe out and relax. And repeat this as often as you like throughout the day. Now in the next video, we'll look at some more exercises to strengthen your back and your core muscles.